Robert Norman Ross, better known as Bob Ross, was born on October 29, 1942, to parents Jack and Ollie Ross. He was raised in Orlando, Florida, before there was ever any international airport, Disney World, or downtown development of the city. In 1960, at the age of 18, Bob Ross decided to join the U.S. Air Force in Florida. 2.5 years later, he transferred to Alaska, the place that provided so much of the inspiration that we see painted on the canvases. He met his first wife there. They had 2 children together. However, they divorced in 1981. Eventually, he met his second wife, a woman named Jane, and he began working at a bar. There, he would sell his paintings to tourists. Eventually, Bob Ross decided to become apprentice to William Alexander, who was a skilled painter and the host of the show, The Magic of Oil Painting. William taught Bob Ross the wet on wet technique, originally known as alla prima in Italy during the 16th century. Bob Ross would go on to teach the wet and wet technique and gained many fans as well as students. This led to William Alexander passing the torch from himself to Bob Ross, and thus was born the show The Joy of Painting on PBS. This is where he painted about 30,000 canvases. Here he spread the message that we all had an artist within us, and his soft, quiet, soothing voice, along with the brushstrokes against the canvas, created an autonomous sensory meridian response, or ASMR. Bob was quite ahead of the times. This was before ASMR was a thing of pop culture. Bob Ross's love for wildlife and nature came from his mom. He was a landscape painter that portrayed nature as untouched and not developed by human hands, but rather what his imagination deemed birthed from the earth itself. Each canvas was an invitation to sit at a window and watch a majestic view. Now let's take a look at some Bob Ross art. Here we have Oak on a Clear Day, and this is Oak Blue Ridge. This type of art certainly was a contrast to the age of times. Ross's subject matter and content did not compete with the technology race that was happening in society at the time. Microsoft in 1983 introduced Windows. That same year, NASA launched 2 successful space missions, the first one putting a satellite in orbit, the second launching a woman into space for the first time. According to the Journal of American Folklore, Ross eschewed pretentiousness and invited participation through imitation. He stayed true to himself. In a society that prized technological advancement, being first and the only one who can do it, he remained a calming constant in this fast-paced, moving world. In the same journal, the book Happy Clouds, Happy Trees said to have a compelling argument regarding the significance Bob Ross had on the culture and society and in the realm of arts education. Participating with his art, I am invited into his world. I am reminded to stay true to myself, to understand that what I have is enough, and that I don't need to compete. Being confident that I can inspire others by owning what makes me great.